This is my math toolbox. My name is Ruthie Wonderling, and these are what I consider my top 15. First things are place value discs. These are important as a teacher because they really work on place value. I appreciate them because they are foam, they're lightweight, and the best thing with any busy teaching classroom is that they are quiet. They are wonderful because they're color coded and you can use these to work in small groups or individually. I use them to put on place value charts as I do find that they are helpful for understanding how to do place value, especially with the Common Core curriculum. My second item that I really enjoy are foam and plastic kind of eraser dice. I find these to be very effective tools for students. I think they come in so many different sizes that most students find them quite enticing. They're good for doing subdividing on numbers, especially with the ones with just dots. I do have foam dice that also have numbers on them. We make partners to 10. We use them for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division facts. They work very well for math fluency as well as mathematic recall. The third thing that I really find helpful to use are I call them just mint tin boxes. Mint tins are just wonderful because you can use them for storage, but they're also helpful for working on place value pieces and things. Sometimes I will let students get to have a 100s tin, they can have a 1000s tin, a 1s tin, and we work on getting to trade items that are inside. Another piece that I do find helpful as a great tool are math egg tins. Egg tins are wonderful because you can work on talking about dozens or 2 dozens, and you can have plastic eggs in them. I do also cut down the egg cartons and I'll use them as 10 frames, and so I often will let students design their math problems and their word problems for addition or subtraction facts, and then they can go ahead and color code with their discs or their chips. Sometimes we have fun and we'll put Cheerios or other types of objects inside them, but it does help with, you can have 2 10 frames, understand that's 20. How many 10 frames do you need to make 100? There's so many ideas that students can expand on with these egg cartons. They're great for storage, for sorting, as well as grouping concepts. My fourth item that I really find very fun and engaging are these little tiny plastic party cups. I really like to work with them on place value, where I put the numbers 0 all the way through 10 on the cups. I have the 1s, the 10s, hundreds. We basically can go all the way up to millions, and this is how students can change their numbers, and we work on expanded notation, standard notation, and it's just great for numeracy skills. I like the mini ones because they're small, tiny, lightweight, and simple to store. My fifth item is about the mint tins, and with this mint tin, I do use it for mini games, and sometimes I will use my place value cubes, and we might have place value math game where we're talking about, I have this number, and a student will say, this is my number, which number is in the thousands place, which is in the hundreds place, and I find these are easy to store. They're lightweight, very inexpensive, and I find them to be just very engaging types of tools, especially with the mini games. You can put any type of game in here. Often I will put different types of task cards as well. The sixth item are very, very inexpensive, easy to use. These are task cards, they're kind of mini flashcards. I like the 2x3 only because they're simple. You can put them on jump rings or binder rings. I will put single digits often on the cards. We will work on putting digits down to build things by place value. We can do expanded notation, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and these I often will put questions for games on here. So we'll use game task cards, and then we can do quite a bit with that. The next item is a measuring tape or a ruler. You have to stop because I don't have one. Here's a measuring tape. Measuring tapes are very helpful for students to be able to measure anything with. We do area, perimeter, And what's fun is you can measure body parts to see how tall people are, how many inches are in a foot. What I find also is helpful with a ruler is you can have a number line. And so most students might get stuck in lower elementary school with regrouping ideas, and sometimes if you just have a visual of a number line, that helps them to do basic operations. The 8th one are my fraction dominoes. And the fraction dominoes are very engaging. They're nice concrete visuals. I like the ones that have the pictures with fractions. They have decimals. I like them to have the visuals with the fractions inside the shape also. And I think sometimes for my students we'll even work on converting them to percentages. I find them very interactive and engaging. You can do small groups or large groups. And most students just find these very fun. I myself get carried away because I just really enjoy math dominoes. The 9th one of my toolbox items are change dominoes. I mean, not dominoes, they're dice. So there's money amounts with the cents. And students really enjoy getting to roll these to see how much money they can make in a roll. They're foam, so they're very lightweight. They're quiet, simple to store. Again, I store most of my items in Ziploc bags or old shoe boxes. And I have never had a student not want to play a game with rolling a dice. The next piece would be the 10th one, which is my color-coded hundreds chart. I find any hundreds chart is helpful, but often for students a color-coded chart is very helpful because you can teach the numbers in the 20s family and the 50s family and the 70s family, and I think it's easy for them to visualize and see number patterns. Often we will use the charts that are in a plastic sheet protector, so you can use a whiteboard marker with them, and the back you can draw on as a whiteboard. Sometimes I do like to have laminated hundreds charts. They are very helpful because you can write on them, find patterns, teach multiplication. You can do division. The back of these is often empty. You can use this for grid work. You can do bar graphs and all sorts of things. And they're very inexpensive to put on the hundreds charts. My 11th item are some of my favorites. They're for making math real. I do enjoy the 9 lines. The 9 lines are very helpful. It's a multi-sensory mathematic tool by Making Math Real, developed by David Berg. And I use them all the time. Sometimes I will put them in a plastic sheet protector. I will let students with a whiteboard marker, they will fill out this chart. You can do multiplication and division on them. They're wonderful finding number patterns, and it reinforces quite a bit of math fluency. Often some students do enjoy getting to highlight some of their facts that are difficult, and I have added the 12 lines on here just because I do think for older students the 12s are important. We use the back as plain. I put cardstock on here, and we use this kind of as an inexpensive whiteboard to keep in your binders and have for small desk work. I do allow students to take that with them as a manipulative, and I find it just very helpful to reinforce concepts. The 13th item are the math factor triangles, and so I really like factoring with these. They're foam, very inexpensive as well, and this is a great way with being able to understand factoring numbers, prime and composite numbers, and breaking them down. They come in 3 sizes. They're also color coded, and so as a nice tool you can use, let's say you're just factoring these and breaking down your pieces of factors of 36, and I think sometimes it's really helpful where you can just add these. Very engaging, interactive, and they're fun shapes. My 14th item have to be Legos. Legos are some of the best things in the world, or any type of brick. There's lots of bricks that you can do. These work on arrays, they work on multiplication, they also work on division. And so for most students, can you show me a 2x2 array? And you can quickly learn repeated addition as well as multiplication with Legos. We do quite a bit with these. Often my former students will donate them, and I have thousands of Legos that I've been given for free, which I do enjoy that. Plus, who doesn't enjoy playing with blocks and bricks? The next piece that I think is helpful are number 15, which is one of my favorite newest finds. It's a stamp that I use. I really appreciate this because it's a 10 frame stamp, and it's pretty smart and clever. It's lightweight, it's very small, it's made by Learning Resources. I use this where the handle is actually kind of also the dot stamp, and what you can do is you ink up your stamp, and you can make quite a few stamps where you can get the ink on it, put that on your stamp pad. It's great for teaching 10 frames. You can teach addition, subtraction. My guys really enjoy getting to use bingo dot markers, and with the dot art markers they can do all sorts of equations and math sentences. These are my top 15 math items. I hope you enjoyed watching this. Thank you.